Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dozer, and if you're new to the show, the mission here is to expose the quacks and gimmicks in the marketing industry while featuring some great marketers and entrepreneurs along the way. On this episode, I'm excited to welcome our guest, Alex Horsman. Alex is an SEO consultant and entrepreneur based in Kansas City. Alex, thanks so much for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ryan. I'm sure we'll have some good talks given everything going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we dive into the rabbit holes, let's just do a quick intro on who you are and what you do.
Yeah, cool. So like you said, I'm Alex Horsman. I am primarily involved in SEO, and I was largely involved in building affiliate sites, but I would say now I'm an affiliate marketer turned marketer, especially with the recent Google updates that have happened. It's just really opened up my eyes that leaning solely on Google and affiliate marketing for monetization is not a good play anymore. So now we're looking at building sites that have product built into them, capturing email addresses, going omni-channel, looking at Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube. And we have done that with a couple of the websites where we have done it. They're still alive. The websites where we haven't done it, a lot of them are dead or struggling because of these recent Google updates. So that's me in a nutshell. I also do some consulting for brands. That's very minimal just because of time constraints. I really like building my own projects, but if it's a good fit, mainly if somebody's doing something really interesting, especially in the fitness niche, then consulting looks really fun to me. So
Yeah, that's really cool. You got a lot going on. I can relate to that. So let's talk about your experience in SEO. What would you say are some of your biggest wins so far in your career?
My biggest wins. So if I go back to college, that's when I got started in SEO. It was about 9 years ago. I was at the University of Missouri, Mizzou, and I was going out too much, needed money because I was spending all my money at the bars. And so I looked.
Likewise.
Yeah, like most people are. So I found a job link building for ammo.com. And I didn't know anything about SEO. I didn't know anything about digital marketing. My dad worked for the same insurance company for 30 years. My mom sold insurance as well. So it was all very new to me. And it was hard as hell in the beginning because my brain is very math and science oriented, and link building, you have to, essentially in some ways it's copywriting and crafting a really good outreach email and telling people, hey, I want you to add a link on my website. This is where I want you to add it. This is the anchor text I want you to add. Or here's a guest post. Here's why this guest post makes sense for your website. And none of that, I had no experience with it. And also my grammar was really poor. Like I grew up a very math and science person, and English lit was all very not well in high school or in college. And it showed when I started getting replies from people as well. Like 80% of them were like, what do you want me to do? Like, it's not clear what you're asking me to do. You want me to add a link where? I don't even know what a link is. And because of the demographic as well, in the like ammo space, a lot of these people were typically older. And if they had a blog, it was like, I don't even know what the hell a hyperlink is. So it was super challenging. But I went to YouTube. I also my boss at the time, he would review pretty much all my outreach emails because I wasn't using Mailshake. I wasn't using Pitchbox. It was a spreadsheet of a list of websites and then me with my Gmail account. And I would have to BCC him on the emails, and he would just rip me. He'd be like, what the hell is this? But it's how I learned, right? And when I graduated from the University of Missouri 4 days later, I got these job offers in Chicago, kind of like your corporate career types. And he offered me super low. I mean, it was like $3,000 a month, but I would move out to Bali, Indonesia, and work underneath him. And this was he owned an agency. And so I went out to Bali, learned underneath this guy, and he kind of just taught me everything. And it was the spark that really moved me, and what I was happy. My biggest achievement is just making that move, learning underneath him, and then throughout the years, I think at year 6 or 7 with him, I ended up being the head of marketing. So that right there was probably my like my biggest growth. And I think that's also pretty rare for somebody fresh out of college to stick with the same company for that long. So that's kind of like my biggest career win, if you will. In terms of SEO, though, like I gave a talk at a conference. DCBKK Dynamite Circle is it's kind of like a nomad community for digital entrepreneurs, people living overseas and Southeast Asia, and how you can connect with others. And I gave a mini talk at one of the conferences, and I felt like a huge imposter because most of these people are entrepreneurs, right? And I was the head of marketing at this 7-8 figure e-commerce brand, and I was like, well, just do X, Y, and Z. And people were like, bro, I don't have the budget you have, right? I'm a bootstrap business. I'm a bootstrapped e-commerce store. So right after that conference, a week after that conference, I went out and bought my first affiliate site. It wasn't making any money. It was one of these like
Flippa or Empire Flippers or something?
No, it was, I forget who it was, because it wasn't, it was a business like Motion Invest or something. One of these companies, they would basically create a website for you where it's the shell, and so it's ready to start publishing on. It didn't have any links to it, but at least had decent branding, WordPress installed, domain, all that shit kind of squared away. So I went and bought one of those, and then that was the first like kind of affiliate site that I scaled. I got that to 24,000 a month, and that was when I kind of became hooked on all things SEO and affiliate marketing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I've been in affiliate marketing for a while too, so I completely relate to that. Let's talk about your website, Shitty SEO Advice. Is that what you told me it was called?
Yeah.
What do you hope to accomplish there? Like, what are some goals you have for that website?
Yeah, I mean, it's like what you and I were talking about above or before this, we started recording. Like, I just think there's a lot of bullshit out there, and I call it shitty SEO advice because I really focus on the fundamentals of like content, improve your content, improve your links, improve your content, improve your links. And it like, I'm never going to make a good YouTube thumbnail, right? It's never going to be like how I got my traffic to 16
the
million.
Julian Goldie thumbnails, right?
Yeah. I'm never gonna get my traffic to 16 million using 100,000 AI articles. Like, it's not going to make a good YouTube thumbnail like that. So I say it's shitty SEO advice because it's not that. And also, what, you know, going back to what I said previously about like an affiliate marketer turned marketer, I venture away from SEO advice on the newsletter as well. So again, that's kind of shitty, but I do that because I want people to just realize the like holistic environment of marketing. Like, the SEO is just one traffic channel. It's not everything.
Yeah, and most of the time it's top of funnel too, and that's where
Yeah.
people are losing their lunch right now is the top of funnel approach. We're relying on Mediavine or AdThrive or Zoic or
Yeah.
AdSense. Those people are getting crushed right now.
Yeah, and like, you know, even moving away from those business models, I think ads can be complementary, but how can you capture email addresses? How can you build a funnel, multiple funnels? How can you build a low, mid, and high ticket offer to like just up your monetization game outside of ads and affiliate? I think pure content sites are kind of dead in the water for most people.
Especially informational content sites.
Yeah, especially informational. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with SGE. That'll be interesting, but it seems like SGE is going to crush a lot of informational queries.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question is I want to get your thoughts on the current state of SEO right now. First of all, just like, what do you think about the SERPs? I know it's like niche dependent, like everything in marketing, it depends on the niche. But just I want to hear your overall thoughts on SERPs right now versus a year ago, 3 years ago. Like, what are your thoughts on the SERPs?
Yeah, 3 years ago it was nice. I would say even a year ago it was nice. But then September happened, the helpful content update then. And I think Google overcorrected, in my opinion. And I think they also lumped I don't know if it's pattern matching. I do think a lot of it's also engagement rate, but, you know, in terms of pattern matching, if we're speaking solely about affiliate sites, they've been tanked, and I largely think this is because if you're on WordPress and you use this template that every other damn affiliate site is using, and you have these plugins, then we just declassify you and say that you're a shit, you know, website, because there's a bunch of affiliates kind of just BSing the internet. And that brought down a bunch of solid affiliate sites as well. Reddit, you know, that's mind-boggling Reddit and Quora. I don't, especially, I can see both ways. Like I actually like using Reddit because I do get real people advice. It doesn't make
I don't know about anymore, but yeah, like 3 years ago. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly. Also, like for the YMYL niches, Reddit really doesn't make fucking sense to me. I think that's really stupid. It's one thing if you're looking up a fishing rod. It's another thing if you're looking up diabetes treatment and fucking Reddit and Quora is showing up. I think that's that's not good from a user standpoint. Like
No, I want to get your thoughts on Reddit too, because you know the whole story. You're in the weeds of SEO, where Google has this contract for $60 million a year to scrape their data to train the Gemini models, and then their traffic skyrockets 500%. And guess what, Alex? They file for an IPO, so all these executives at Google are making money somehow, some way, you know? So what are your thoughts on that whole situation? Where do you see that going?
I mean, is it even a conspiracy? I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's just truth, right? I also think it's so obvious to us. I was talking to my friend about this, and he's not involved in digital marketing or SEO whatsoever. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I have seen Reddit pop up a bit more now." But like, it's so obvious to us what they're doing, but to the rest of the world, they have no idea. So, I don't think they're going to take them down anytime soon. Honestly, I hope, like I said earlier, hopefully for the YMYL niches. Like, I'm down to do Reddit SEO if that's where it takes me. I really don't want to, but if that's what it's gonna take to make fucking money on the internet, then I'll do it. But
parasite SEO is pretty rampant right now too. And there's one affiliate keyword in particular, best VPNs, right? Huge affiliate keyword, all the big tech sites are ranking for. Well, if you go look at the top 2 or 3 Reddit threads for that keyword, what I discovered is very, very concerning. It's literally 2 or 3 different organizations creating these undercover accounts, buying fake upvotes. They have like 300 or 400 upvotes with their cloaked affiliate links. And I'm like, how is this useful at all? But the average person has no clue.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Reddit's pretty damn good or they've gotten pretty good at that. And I can tell you because I tested the shit out of this. And I did make a decent amount of money using it, but I can tell you right now that that's probably what people are trying to do now is they create their own subreddit and they try to rank their own threads versus trying to like leave a comment underneath an existing thread that's
parasite ranking. SEO.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. But even then, like if you go on Twitter and follow any of these people, you'll see that their subreddits are just dead. Like Reddit's gotten really damn good because I mean they've been dealing with spam forever because of OnlyFans, porn, all this stuff. So sorry if that gets
free sports streaming. I used to look up free sports streaming on Reddit.
So I think Reddit will actually be able to deal with it fairly well. I'm not sure about Quora. I don't know how much spam is going on Quora. They might not be able to deal with it as well. And then Parasite SEO, like right now, all these sites, a bunch of like USA Today got their coupons pages, X, and I think quite a few others. I haven't been keeping up with it. The Telegraph as well. So we'll see, but I don't even think Parasite SEO is dead. Like they've hit some sites, but it's mainly manual actions right now. I don't think it's been algorithmic, and I don't know if you can do it algorithmic. Like how do you know if it's the website publishing it versus a third-party person publishing it? Sure, they usually have like sponsored at the top, but just remove sponsored and now you don't know.
Yeah, like LinkedIn Pulse and Medium, and those are the big ones I can think of.
Yeah, LinkedIn Pulse is huge right now. Medium is huge right now. I think also Substack, any type of like pay-to-play website is doing pretty well, but that's kind of I don't know, man. I don't know if it's all going to be a bunch of parasite shit, but that's typically for the most competitive keywords, right? Like if you're a B2B company or if you're an e-com brand, you typically don't have to worry about that as much.
Or local too.
Or local, yeah. That's really like where you see it rampant is casinos, VPNs, all that stuff that affiliates make a shit ton of money. It's typically affiliate marketers who got their sites smashed and now they're trying to find a way to rank.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So how do we overcome this stuff, Alex? I mean, what are a couple SEO tips and tricks that you have up your sleeve? We could talk about digital PR, talk about what you're doing to overcome some of these things.
Yeah, I think again, like going back to capturing emails, going omni-channel. We've always had Facebook pixels installed on a lot of our websites, and so luckily it's been collecting data, and now we're looking at running ads with all of that traffic data that we have. And some of our websites, we have 7,000 emails or something like that, and we've been actively emailing them. So now it's like, okay, how can we up our monetization? I also think that building products is like it on the aggregate. What I've seen, sure, you can find some cases where this isn't true, but on the aggregate, e-commerce sites are up a lot, whether that's for their category pages, product pages, or articles. So for instance, I had a client that did like best of, single product reviews, all your typical affiliate marketing stuff,
Right.
but they were an e-commerce brand and they blew up. They took over all the affiliate sites that were in their niche went down and they just skyrocketed above them. And I've seen that on our own affiliate sites where the brands that we recommend all of a sudden are way above us. And it just seems that Google likes, there was a joke on Twitter where somebody said adding a shopping cart. And I don't think adding a shopping cart is going to do it, but I think it's all about the user journey and user engagement metrics. And so if you look up the best fishing rod and you land on a website, an affiliate's going to send you to Amazon or Bass Pro or somewhere, and you immediately click off their page. But if they land on your page, and a lot of the times they don't convert, so maybe they go back to Google and search again for another type of fishing rod. But if they land on your page, you sell fishing rods, they click on the product, you have a high conversion rate because you've been optimizing the shit out of it, and then they buy the product, they never search again. Like that search journey is done. They don't go back to Google, it's done. And I think that's like a goal completion in Google's eyes, and that's what we're trying to figure out. How can we add more quizzes? How can we add more like interactive elements, email captures on the page so people are interacting with the page and not going back to Google? Or if there's a typical follow-up question, then how can we make sure that the reader goes like via internal linking, goes to another article or another page on our website that addresses that follow-up question versus them clicking the back button and searching that follow-up question in Google. So that's kind of that's where we're at right now, is how can we just improve the user engagement metrics? And a lot of that's using Hotjar, Microsoft Clarity. I've had to learn these tools because we've never had to worry about it before. And so that's my biggest tip right now, is just like seeing how your users are interacting with your website and making sure that it's a long and useful experience for them.
Yeah, it's a lot of good, useful information you just laid out there. So is affiliate marketing dead, Alex?
I don't think so. I think what we're going to see is a bunch of new affiliate sites get spun up with old content and people adding these interactive elements to the websites. That's
probably very niche dependent too, because some niches
Yes.
are definitely dried out versus others.
Yes, 100%. I think so. That idea also is, they have this helpful classifier on your website, and it takes a long ass time for that classifier to reset. And it's also hard to reset it when your traffic is cut by 90%, because then it's like, all right, well, I'm not getting enough traffic to show you that I've improved my damn website and that user metrics, because you've just killed my traffic. You're not even giving me a chance to recover. So I think what a lot of people are going to do is basically take an old website, buy a new domain, move their old content onto it, and then hopefully, cool, it will rank again, but it's going to get hit by that classifier if you don't improve your metrics. So if you're going to go down that route, move content to a new website, add in a bunch of interactive elements, add in cheat sheets, add in quizzes, add in something that increases your engagement metrics. And also it's worth noting that it's not just like gaming the system, actually make your shit worthwhile and helpful for people.
Right.
And then that way, once you do start ranking, like you get a good rating in the classifier. So I don't know. I definitely don't think affiliate marketing is dead for email lists, for influencers, solely for like pure content sites. I think the whole SEO is my only traffic channel, affiliate marketing is my only monetization method.
Right.
I think that's dead.
That's exactly what Larry Ludwig said, too, when I had him on the show. He just had a big article he published where it says, very clickbaity, SEO is dead, ... And then in the article he said, only for informational niche sites. It wasn't just like a holistic SEO is dead, because everyone says SEO is dead. Every single year someone says that. But no, all that stuff is good. Also, I want to talk about maybe digital PR a little bit. So that's one thing I've invested in quite a bit post-September helpful content update, because getting your EEAT of your author bios, like for you, your knowledge graph in Google, because everyone has a knowledge graph, whether they know it or not. Google is keeping all your information to determine whether you're credible enough to talk about a given topic, and they use that as a huge factor to rank too. Like, I'm doing backlink outreach for AI stuff, so I've been in all these articles related to AI, and that helps my EEAT rank for certain things. So I noticed a lot with digital PR, and I think that's only going to get bigger too.
Yeah, and it's only going to get more expensive, and it's only going to get harder because journalists
They're sick of it.
Yeah, they're getting slammed. And it's why these digital PR agencies can charge $5,000 a campaign, and they get like 8 links, which is, granted, if they're all solid like USA Today or top tier publications, $5,000 for 8 links might be worth it. But that makes it damn hard for new people entering the industry. So how I do it? Go ahead.
No, that's what I tell my PR girl. I'm just like, you got to get in a good relationship with these reporters, and you got to get them to trust you and that you're not going to spam them, because they also deal with a lot of AI shit now. AI pitches, AI responses, and they're all sick of that stuff too. Yeah,
it's just like Wyatt Harrow, right? I
use quoted now.
Quoted, but that was like ChatGPT was probably the worst thing that happened to journalists during whenever it came out, because their inbox was now just flooded with bullshit AI answers to all of their queries. It's the same thing with digital PR, and I think the big thing where we've had success, I really like state-specific campaigns if we're talking about actual content ideation and creation. So one I shared recently was, I think it was Lawn Starter. They did a piece of best barbecue places in the United States, and obviously it's tangentially related, right? You usually barbecue on your lawn. Lawn Starter is all about, I think they sell grills and things like that. And those have worked well for us in the past, mainly because people love kind of talking shit on other states or complaining about how low they ranked, or praising it. And I actually shared that example because it ranked Kansas City as #1, and I was like, I feel like I should share this. This makes, it makes sense. So that's, digital PR is going to get harder, but I do think it's going to be important. And to your point, like with EEAT, it's not just your link profile, but if you look at the Google Search Quality Rater Guidelines, they have quality raters actually do like a advanced search operator for your website and for your name whenever they're reviewing your website. So they would say like Alex Horsman, but they would do the minus alexhorsman.com or any website that I'm associated with. And so they want to see what third-party websites are saying about me, not what I'm saying about myself, not what my Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube is saying. And they'll do that for alexhorsman.com too. They want to see where I'm linked to elsewhere on the internet that's not on my controlled websites.
For sure. And brand mentions too.
Yeah,
regardless
exactly.
if someone links back to you or not, do follow, no follow, just having your name listed, especially on top tier sites as a brand mention, that's a very big deal too. So I want to transition into AI now, Alex, a little bit. So let's talk about your workflows with AI. Are you using AI in any of your workflows right now? I guess talk about that.
Yeah, I'm not using it like you. I know you're going hard on it. I use AI. I think writing with AI is actually not that great of a use of it. I do use it to help me overcome writer's block. Like as we talked about, I write on LinkedIn every day, and sometimes
ideation,
it's just like,
baby.
Ideation is huge. I'm like, okay, how can I take? Like, I'll feed all of it. I'll be like, how could how else could I take this? Here are my thoughts around this. And I have conversations with it more than anything, and the most powerful thing with ideation is whenever I ask it a question, instead of just like asking it, I'll ask the question and I'll say, give me 10 examples. And that, like, just asking it to give me more than one output helps so much with ideation. So there's that, and then like subject lines for emails. That's another thing. Like ideation, like my newsletter, I am terrible at subject lines. I hate doing it, and so I can feed it. Like I can go and find a like an article that has 50 of the best subject lines with open rates, and I can feed ChatGPT that, and then ask it, then feed it my newsletter and ask it to give me 10 options. And I usually don't just like copy and paste one over, but it gets me 80 to 90% of the way there, and that's huge for me. Also SOPs.
Yeah, oh yeah.
SOPs are so, like, I do so many Loom recordings, it's ridiculous. I actually should hire somebody to just go through all of my Looms and just plug the transcripts into ChatGPT and just create an entire database. That would be massive. And then I'm testing, you and I chatted before the show, I'm going to test out Descript for recording some of these YouTube, like just screen sharing YouTube videos. I use Loom right now, but apparently Descript uses AI to filter out like I just said, and then as well, like it can slice it up, take the transcription. So I haven't dug deep into that yet, but it sounds like Descript might be a really cool tool.
What tools are you using right now? Are you using ChatGPT Plus or what other?
Yeah, ChatGPT Plus. That's it.
And that's all most people need. As I just got off the plane and told in the presentation, I'm like, there's all these shiny objects out there, guys. But guess what? Most of them are white label OpenAI anyways.
Exactly. The other big thing is like talking to it like a business partner or just like a business mentor. Like I'll just ask it questions. I'll be like, okay, cool. I'm looking at doing this. What should I do first? And it gets a lot of shit wrong. But again, like this whole ideation, it makes you think. It'll bring up things that I didn't even think about. I'll be like, oh yeah. Or maybe I know it in the back of my head, but I just completely forget about it. I haven't brought it, it just hasn't surfaced. And so that's like the most powerful way I'm using it, man. It's just like conversations, really.
That's what I tell people when I talk about AI. I'm like, ideation, number one. If you don't know the answer to something, always ask AI. It's always there, right? So let's talk about Quacks now, Alex. This is the Marketing Quacks podcast after all. Define a marketing quack in your opinion in the SEO space. What are some gimmicks that you see people do?
Oh, man. In the SEO space. I really don't. There's a couple smart people who would disagree with me on this, so I'll tread carefully. But I would say anybody who thinks links don't matter is a quack. There's one person in particular who I know will completely disagree with me. He has a very successful business, but I mean, if you look for any SERP, if you look at any competitive SERP, everybody's link building like mad. So it doesn't make sense to me. I also think if you still try and just do affiliate marketing and ads and SEO, I think you're going to be wasting a ton of time. I also think spamming the shit out of Reddit is probably not the best use of your time, especially if you're trying to build a long-term business model. Like it's very short-term thinking, which, I mean, at the end of the day, some people got to eat, and if you can make some money and that helps you bankroll into a long-term play, I'm not necessarily one to judge about that, although I don't like spamming the internet. So I would say those are the big ones. Also, I mean, anybody who just doesn't place priority on link building and content creation. Like there's so many different features, like all this tech SEO and like anchor text, alt text optimization, and blah, 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 blah. Like there's so much shit, and yes, it's important, but if you don't have the fundamentals down, the 80-20, the Pareto principle, like shit that's actually going to move the needle, then you're just never going to catch up. Like you have to focus on that 100% before you worry about your crawl budget. Unless unless you have 100,000, 200,000 pages on your website.
Right.
But again, it goes back to all the shit on the internet, and there's a lot of influencers on LinkedIn. There's a lot of influencers on Twitter. As soon as like one or two people say something, it's just an echo chamber. And it's like, this is just theory. Like it's
Right.
also a quack move just to listen to that and not test that shit out because
no one knows, bro. Like,
Yeah.
people like to say that the SEO there's the world of the unknown. As me and you both know, it's about testing and using
Yeah.
data where people just make blanket statements and then they have a following and they're like, oh, Lily Ray said that, so now we got to all do it. I
Yeah.
like Lily Ray. I'm just like thinking
do
of an
too,
example. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to even what I said earlier, where I said about engagement rate optimization, where I think I don't know. This is what I think. I have one friend who's been able to recover his site, and he's the only person I've seen. And even right now, it's in test, and so we don't know if that's going to come crashing down or not. And so yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like you just got like Grindstone on Twitter is his name. And he talks about link disavow files. And everybody, like all of these top tier SEOs and a bunch of SEOs are talking shit on him. And they're like, Google ignores these links, blah, blah, blah. But I respect Grindstone so much because he's like, cool, I don't care like I'm not trying to have an argument or a conversation with you about this. He was like, here's a GIF of all of the keywords that I've climbed since I input my disavow file. And to me, that is the most powerful thing. It's just like, man, stop spending so much time on LinkedIn and Twitter and just go test shit out.
Exactly. And SEO is such a polarizing industry, man. Holy
Yeah.
hell. Just like there's always one people on this side, the white hats, and there's the black hats, and
Yeah.
they're arguing every day. It's like I've never seen an industry more polarizing.
It's pretty funny. I'm surprised. Yeah. I think, I guess I compare it to politics in some ways. I think there's this side and this side. I think vast majority of people are in between.
I'm a gray hat, for
sure. Like that's kind of where I see things.
Yeah. Well, Alex, this has been fun. I guess any final notes that you would have for anyone listening on SEO advice or marketing advice?
No, it's my only final note we kind of touched on, just now. It's just like test shit out. Don't spend so much time on Twitter and LinkedIn. And I say that as somebody who spends way too much time on Twitter and LinkedIn.
I do too.
Yeah, like go and test stuff. Don't get wedded to one person. Like I get it, you like an influencer, whether they're black hat or gray hat or white hat, but just don't take everything as an opinion versus fact.
Yep.
And go test.
I completely agree with that. One other thing I wanted to mention, I just thought of it. What are your thoughts on OpenAI releasing this new ChatGPT search engine next week that they announced?
I just saw that. I have no thoughts on it. I
Yeah.
literally think I just saw that, and I didn't even open up the article. I was a headline read.
Okay.
So we'll see. What are your thoughts on it?
I saw someone comment. It was I forget who it was. It was some SEO influencer. And what they've been doing is if you go to OpenAI's like blog page,
Yeah.
I thought Google was corrupt, and they are corrupt. Don't get me wrong. But like the way that they're establishing these media partnerships with big brands, it almost seems like whoever's willing to sign the biggest contract is the one who they're going to reward on their search engine based on the contracts that they have with these media publishers versus anything organic or first person or whatever. Yeah, so that it just smells corruption to me right now. But I guess we'll see until something comes out.
Yeah, so, so it seems like only whoever signs contracts with them, that's who they're going to rank.
Like Dotdash Meredith, my previous employer,
Yeah.
right? They own People, Better Homes,
Yeah.
They're a huge publisher, Investopedia. So companies like that, they're
Yeah.
trying to get in bed with and sign these big contracts and reward their content.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. It will be interesting the next 5 to 10 years to see what the hell happens to search. I don't think SEO is going to die, but I do think the landscape is going to shift a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen it in just over a year how much it shifted with forums and Reddit. I mean, that was never a topic 3-5 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. And it's also worth knowing that like SEO is a thing on YouTube. It's a thing on Pinterest. It's a thing on others. Yeah, local. Like there's other platforms, right, where your skills, and if you've been doing SEO and you got kicked in the teeth, you still have skills. You've learned skills that are still transferable. And even if it's not SEO, you've learned project management. You've learned link building. Okay, you learned link building, that's email outreach. You learned how to find an email. You learned how to, craft an email message. So I guess don't get down.
Right. Yeah, for sure. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. Well, Alex, where can people find you online?
I write on LinkedIn every day. Alex Horsman, no E in Horsman, Horsman. And then Shitty SEO advice is where I write my newsletter and give a bunch
.com?
of .com. And that's where I share a bunch of non-shit SEO advice, I'd like to think.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to link all that in the description and give you some juicy backlinks off this episode, which is what podcasting's good for, bro, are the backlinks that come from it.
Yeah, I'll take them.
For sure. Well, thanks again for joining the show, and thank you again to everyone listening to this episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. Be sure to tune in again to the next episode.